Hi, Kevin, Russ, and anyone else who's interested in watching. I just want to show you a little bit about what I did with the cloud database development a few years ago. It's all still there. Uh, I made some accounts in what used to be called G Suite. It was a Google G Suite, Google Suite, and went up out there and set up some accounts. I think I paid like $12 a year. In fact, obviously I'm still paying because it's still my accounts are still there. Uh, and Other than that, it doesn't cost anything to have up to 100 or so user accounts. And so I own all of these accounts, so I was able to um, assign. Actually, I had an assistant assign the user accounts to the participants so that they could log in and do things with the data. And of course, every time someone logs in and signs up for a course, something like that, it records their um, participant email address and participant ID. But I could do it anonymously. I still didn't know who they were, so I never knew who the participants were. They were a group of senior citizens from a leisure learning uh, program associated with the University of West Florida. And you'll see some of the course names in here that they're looking through. It's pretty leisurely stuff. So, but I did what I had to do. I came up with better ideas than this that I wanted to do, but they all got shot down. Either it was going to take too long, or we might get sued. For example, I wanted to uh, collect data from a device like a Fitbit and maybe feed it into a recommender system and recommend things to read, perhaps about um, your health based on what was going on. Maybe pulse was consistently a little high or something like that. Um, but all of those ideas got shot down. So I ended up doing this. But anyway, I learned a lot. And so here's the Firebase real-time database. And to populate this database, I wrote, in addition to writing the um, React front end and React and Node.js to interact with the cloud database. Uh, in addition to that, I wrote uh, something that really didn't take that long in Python, using Python natural language processing tools. And I took the course catalog um, from the Leisure Learning Center and extracted all of the courses and all the information about the courses, the descriptions, and all of that. Uh, put all of that in the database, and then I extracted uh, all of the statements in the course descriptions that were actually uh, descriptions of learning outcomes, things you could expect to learn if you took this course. And to do that, I used, there's the Bloom's taxonomy of learning. So in that Bloom's taxonomy, they've got certain, they've got verbs that describe learning at different levels. And so I looked for those, and that didn't quite net everything. So then I actually uh, lemmatized, Lemma, lemmatized the word, and so I could look for the root in an adjective or a noun or a verb, anything. And so I came up with pretty much everything at that point, every learning outcome I could. So I put all these learning outcomes in a table linked back to the course, and then I would present the learning outcomes instead of the courses. The whole idea, the experiment was to see if the the theory was that if you make it easier for someone to find and select an elective course, that you're reducing the cognitive load. You know, if somebody has to take an entire course catalog and read through it until they find a suitable course, they may not make the best decision. It may not be the absolute best course they could have taken for their time and money. It's probably you get exhausted after a while and you're just going to pick one. Plus, it's just a lot of time and effort. And from my research and from what I know from my own experience, as you get older, if something just doesn't seem worth the time, you're probably going to look for something else to do instead of spending all that time reading through a course catalog for some fluff course that you'd be just as well off not taking. So anyway, it was just something that might help the program and help me graduate. So that was essentially it. But I did learn a lot. I got to learn how to extract all that information from the document and put that into a cloud database and write some pretty nice code. It's a very simple user interface. You'll see it in a moment. But so let's take a look at what I've got in the database. Now this is the console for the owner of the database. I can go in. So these are key value pairs. So this is the key. It's a GUID. And then this is the value can be a structure like this. This could have hundreds of fields, I'm sure, in it. Not all of the tables are so robust, but so this has the course catalog, the course ID from the catalog, the description, the fee, the instructor, the knowledge area ID. So this is a catalog ID. So this points back to another table, the knowledge area, and then the course name. And let's see, what else have I got? Catalog, knowledge areas. So those are the knowledge areas. Now the learning objectives. Learn how the health of the brain and body are connected. And how do I get back? Oh, here it is. Course ID. So each of these learning outcomes is linked back to a course, and so it's a very simple matter then when someone selects a learning outcome, and they may be associated with multiple courses, or the and of course a course might have usually will have multiple learning outcomes associated with it. So if they happen to pick one that's referenced to two courses, then of course both courses would be recommended. So that's the learning outcome. Let's see. Learning objective course. So this is the cross-reference course ID, learning outcome ID. Just a cross-reference table. Session. Oh, that's the course sessions. So some courses meet multiple times a week. Some meet once a week. Some meet one time only. That's the most frequent thing for this type of course. But that's all information that'll show up in the user interface. By the way, it's way past my bedtime if I seem like I'm out of energy. User tables. Now this is, you see all of the data that's not in user tables, it's static. It goes in, I extract it from the course catalog, I send it up to the database, it never changes. Now as the users interact with this information and they pick learning outcomes, and then they get recommendations based on those, and then they can rate the recommendation, and then they can move it into their planner, their schedule planner, and then they can rate it again there, and then eventually now it doesn't actually allow them to register. It just has a button on there that says learn how to register. I explained to the school, of course, how we could, after this experiment's over and I graduate, we could turn this into an actual thing, and you could link it up to PayPal or something, and it would be a good thing for the students. But once I graduated, I never went back to talk about it. I was just happy to get out. So anyway, so these user tables, we've got navigation events, time and modal. And a lot of this stuff in the user tables was for experimental purposes, time and modal, that sort of thing. That gave me some metrics to use in my paper. Learning objective, user select, navigation event, and then number of navigation events. I'd have to go back and refresh my memory on what I did with all of this information, but it was one of the ways to look at cognitive load. And of course, another way was they actually answered a survey about their subjective experience of cognitive load. So that was that. So that's it. So let's take a look at how this looks in the user interface. So I'm logged in here as two different people. I've got two instances, and don't laugh too hard at this graphic. I did this myself. I didn't have the budget, obviously, to hire an artist. So I came up with this. I came up with this logo, Scholasticity. It's kind of a mashup of scholarship and tenacity. Some said that in my case it was a mashup of scholarship and audacity. In fact, I said that, but people agreed. So anyway, we have this, and then have a download the user manual link. Now this, I'm logged in as two different people. One is a participant. Um, Now I had two experimental groups. One group had the had this user interface. Um, Actually, it was actually an experimental group and a control group. But to make things more um, the same for each group, I thought, okay, if the control group doesn't use any new technology at all, then and just does things the old way, looks through the course catalog, then they it's not a fair comparison to see if the experimental group had reported less cognitive load, subjective cognitive load, uh, because they're having to learn something new, so that would probably increase it. So I wanted both the experimental and control group to use the new technology, but the control group didn't use it as a recommender system. It was pretty much just an electronic course catalog for them. And so you can see some of that in this one. This is one I made for the administrator of the Leisure Learning Center. Um, and this was all controlled by who's logged in. I had two domains that I purchased. One was scholasticity.org. The other one was scholarsanonymous.org. I just did that so that I could put all of the control group people in Scholars Anonymous, because I already had the experimental people. I had planned to put them in with scholasticity.org accounts. And so the domain you came from, that determined which user interface you would get, which user experience. But then the one person who got this mashup of either one was the administrator, and then also she was able to see registrations, but that was just I think a mock-up, because we didn't actually allow them to register, because we didn't want people to think, okay, I actually did register for this course. So it was decided, okay, we'll just put up a little dialogue that tells them who to call if they want to register for the course. So anyway, let's take a look at this one first. This is what the users experienced as a recommender system. So first they would open up my interests, and here are all the knowledge areas that were represented in the course catalog: arts and literature, science and health, etc., gardening and environment. So let's look at this one. Tourism. So these are learning outcomes. This is something you can learn or experience from taking the course. And as I said, these were extracted using Python, a natural language processing tools. So learn how cell phones and social media change broadcasting. So I selected that one. So now I'm gonna go back up to the menu, and I'll have a recommendation in there. And here it is. That learning outcome came from this course. Conversation with Alan Strom on regional weather. Instructor, Alan Strom. The course was $12. It met one time, Wednesday, 24 February, for 1 hour. And it tells you why you got that recommendation based on your selection of And then you can rate it. So let's click that. Let's give it 5 stars. And then we gave it 5 stars, so we may want to take it. So let's put it in the registration planner. Confirm registration. Okay, notice it goes away from the recommendations now, and it's in my courses. Here it is. So now we can rate it again. Yeah, I think I really like it. So now we, and notice that it changed the sort. It came to the top because these are sorted by rating. So how to register, and there it is. So we didn't actually let them register, so I was hoping that we had, so I could show you that you would have been able to see it pretty immediately over in the admin users view of who had registered for a course. But we didn't do that. So that's the app. And it's all written in React. It's very simple, very basic. But one of my goals was to make it a user interface that's friendly for senior citizens. You don't want a lot of things going on. You want it to be clean, simple, a lot of contrast. You know, if the colors are too similar, I know I have trouble distinguishing if you've got some like very light colored text on a fairly light colored background. I guess some people can read that, but I really have trouble, and I see a lot of that lately. It's not good. But the control group, now they could view. They didn't have this view learning outcomes. That this is only the administrator has both of these, but the control group could view courses by learning outcome, and then instead of seeing, did I say? What I meant to say was they could view them by knowledge area or by day. So these are the actual courses. And it looks like I might have added something in about ratings too. So this would look through all of the this may be fabricated just to show. Because I don't recall having people rate based on these things. Plus, they seem to be all the same. I think this was just a mock-up, but these are the actual courses. And it is all being pulled from the database. And then they could view the courses by day. You know, these courses meet on Wednesday, these meet on Monday, that sort of thing. And then we have an about. And here they can view the registrations, but as I said, I think this is just a mock-up. So back to this one. Here we have an about that actually describes what each of these menu options are. So my interests, and these were the little icons associated with it. My recommendations, my courses, the shopping cart. Um, so anyway, that's an example that of using a cloud database. And so I have no idea where this data is, but I will say, this data has been in there since 2019, 2020, maybe, and yeah, at least, and it's still intact. But the really great thing is, I have never, not only have I never paid Google Cloud Platform or Firebase database, I've never paid a dime. I've never even given them a credit card number. So my recommendation, and I had started out attempting to use AWS, and I ran up a big bill. In fact, I put like 100 rows of data in a table or a few tables, and I went on vacation. This was 2019. I came back 2 weeks later, and I got my bill. It was like $100 for 100 rows of data. So I canceled that and went with Google Cloud Platform, and I've never spent a dime on it. I spend $12 a year to own those two domains, and I think the same amount per year for G Suite. It's called something else now. It used to be G Suite. Um, so I still maintain those. As when I get some time, I'd like to actually uh, do something with this um, application and the database, and see if it's anything anybody would want. Um, but anyway, that's it. I just wanted to let you see what I did with the cloud database in the cloud and application to access it. And you know, when I get some time, I'll refamiliarize myself with the code and step you through that if you're interested, because it's really pretty nice. The React code it's extremely responsive and fast. Um, I think. I mean, we're like, as soon as I hit this check mark, it saved a record into a user table uh, in the cloud, and then if I log out, I come back, that's still going to be checked, unless I well, even if I go and move the recommendation out to my courses. See, here's the recommendation. So now it's in Registration Planner, but I believe, no, I don't remember. Yes, so the learning outcome is still checked because it's still actively being considered. I go to my courses. Here it is. Let's rate it again. Let's give it a 3 stars. So we'll see where it shows up in the sort. So here it is. It's just above the one that has no rating at all. And I'm pretty sure that's still checked. Yes. Now, if I remove it, if I take away if I delete the course, if I delete it from my courses and delete it from recommendations, then it unchecks this box. So let's do that. I didn't mean to check that. So let's remove it. Confirm removal. Let's see, did it go back here? Yes, it went back here. And that's by design, obviously. So because it's still there, it's still checked here, but now let's go remove it from recommendations. And now it's going to have unchecked the box. Yes. So all of that, it's writing data and then fetching it back from the cloud all pretty quickly. So that's it. Good night.